Now,
All right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday night, and you know it's that time for the NFC South Mountain Down Show. I am your host, Mr. T Money 1993, and got two special guests with me. We got Sean from the Saints fan base. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How about you, T?
I'm doing good, man. Always working. That's about it.
I'm just curious. Is 1993 like the year you were born? Oh
Yes.
my lord!
I know, I know.
In
Uh,
1993, I was out of high school for 7 years. Oh my god!
Yeah, in 1993, I was out of high school for about 7 years myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
graduated in '86.
yeah, I graduated actually in '85. I graduated a year early, actually.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
All right,
That's been on
yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, that's where that came from.
Okay.
Then my other special guest, man, back with us this week. Greg, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, doing good. Yeah, so of course you can always contact me at IntenseGB on Twitter. So feel free to hit me up anytime and say hi.
Yeah. Sean, you want to go ahead and let everybody know where they can reach you? Start us off.
Okay, you can follow us on Under the Dome PO1 for the Under the Dome podcast, which I am a proud co host of, sponsored by Fan First Productions. You can follow me personally on Twitter at DrewsDad3721. And you can follow our podcast every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. 1 hour before the mothership, the C3 Carolina Cat Chronicles.
As far as me, Mr. T Money 1993 is the YouTube, the Twitter, T Muhammad 23. And if you really support me, just put a new video up on the gaming channel, T Money Gaming. Go ahead and check it out, subscribe. But moving on from that, Saints had a bye week last week.
Yeah, we
Uh,
Yeah,
didn't lose.
that's right.
It
yeah,
was
that's
close though. I mean, it was close, but we narrowly escaped the bye week without a loss.
yeah. With y'all luck this year, I'm surprised y'all didn't lose a defensive player during the bye.
Actually, we did.
Yeah, we did. We
Actually,
did.
we did.
Eric Harris blew his
We
knee
lost.
out
We
Monday,
lost Eric Harris Monday with a torn ACL and meniscus.
and he was intercepting the ball at the time,
Wow.
and he intercepted the ball in practice when it happened.
Now, see, this is what happens when you pick off Drew Brees.
Yeah, it's that
Let that be an
that
example
guy.
for you guys come Sunday.
It's that voodoo.
That's right.
Busting
And
that
wait,
voodoo out.
sure, I don't know if losing one is that bad anymore, man.
Well, T Money, you guys, it was in some ways, and I hate to feel like I'm piling on, and that's really not my intent at all. But Carolina in that Monday night game versus Tampa Bay was basically in really and truly what could be considered by some to be a no-win situation. You were without your offense for the most part in Cam Newton. I mean,
Yep.
people can say all they want to that you're not going to lose that much with Derek Anderson. Well, there's a reason Derek Anderson holds the clipboard and Cam Newton holds the face mask. Uh, for the most part, you were without the biggest part of your offense, and
Yeah, like 60% of their offense, I think.
sure, uh, for you guys to come out of that for the most part healthy, that had to be at least a bit of a victory in and of itself. I know that in the NFL there's no such thing as moral victories. I'm a firm believer in that, but at the same time, well, another way of looking at it could be the same way that I feel about our Monday night game with Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. You know, we go into that game down seven starters. Now, what did people think was going to happen? There was a sense
Yeah,
of
yeah, and,
foreboding and dread that came over me prior to that game. Uh,
yeah. My heart was in my throat the minute I saw like Vaccaro wasn't in.
yeah,
Oh, jeez, this
and
is
they
not gonna go well.
the names just kept coming all the way up to game time. This guy is not active. This guy is not playing.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and I feel kind of the same way about what happened with you guys against Tampa. Um, there's way too much parity in this league right now to think that you're going to be without the major weapons in your arsenal and still be able to walk away with a victory. It's just that's almost unheard of these days.
Yeah, but I don't know. Tampa's second round draft pick was pretty close there, boy. He was helping them.
Uh, I'm not gonna give my team that excuse, man, as a fan, just because the Bucks had their own issues to deal with. I mean, the first two running backs was out.
Yeah, yeah, they
Probably
were.
at least 3-4 defensive linemen was out.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm not the type to give my team that excuse.
Oh no, no.
Uh,
Now by no means at the end of the day, all that matters, and this is one of the sad realities of this league and this sport. At the end of the day, all that matters is who walked away with a win and who walked away with a loss.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the year, you don't get a separate accountant for your loser column. Well, you lost this game, but you had this against you, and this player didn't. None of that matters. All that matters is who won and who lost. So I try very hard not to ever make excuses for losses because it's really a waste of time.
yeah, I mean, I would say that if Derek didn't put us in a position to win, and he did to a certain extent. I mean, but he's Derek Anderson, and he showed why he's not a starter in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
Is
pretty
the
Exactly.
much.
consistency of it.
Yeah.
He might play a pretty good game for most of the game, but he's gonna have those plays that shoot you in the foot, and he had two of them. The one he forced to Kelvin, that Hargraves kind of hit up in the air and they picked off. Actually had three. The one where he decided he wanted to be Cam for a play and run for the first down.
How'd that work out for you?
I still don't understand that one. How do you turn your back to the person and still fumble? Like I can see if we hit head on maybe, or we hit
Right.
running up with each other.
Yeah.
But to turn your back to shield yourself from the hit and still fumble was ridiculous. And then I'm mad at Da as a veteran coach. He shouldn't. Veteran quarterback. He should know not to do it. But I'm
Yeah.
also mad at Mike Shula. First
Yeah.
and goal. Cameron Payne just had 2 touchdowns and 2 drives before, and we run a play action pass where Da tries to force it to Greg Olsen with 2 people on it. Now it's not that Greg Olsen can't make that catch, because I've seen even the one in the first half, I think, or whenever it was, where he had McDougal behind him and Quan Alexander in front of him. I've seen him make that catch before,
Yeah.
but you don't have to put him in that spot. And I just feel like
Oh.
Da did the opposite of what I thought he would do.
Yeah.
To me, as much as my fan base complained about Cam just throws it to Kelvin and Greg Olsen, I feel like Da totally did that. I don't remember
Yeah.
Funches getting a target. I don't remember Ted Ginn getting a target. Philly Brown might have had maybe 2, but that was mostly a Greg Olsen and Kelvin Benjamin night, which coming to the game, Greg Olsen, anytime we play Tampa, he's going to get off because they haven't had a safety since
John Lynch.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So you already know the middle of the field is going to be open. So I'm not mad about the whole passing to Greg a lot. I mean, he had at one point, I think he got up 200 and something yards. But sometimes the Kelvin throws, I just don't. And even the one where he ran, he had Devin Funches wide open for the first down and didn't throw it and try to take it himself. So, I mean, like I said, Derek Anderson showed why he's a backup. He's somebody as a backup who can keep you in a lot of games, maybe win you a couple games, but didn't show the consistency of a starting quarterback.
Now, T Money, I want to ask you. I know you're the moderator, and I've just kind of commandeered things here, but I want to ask you a question that we got into both on our show last night with Tony and Joe, but also on their show when they had Alan and I on following our show. I want to ask you a question as a member of the Panthers media. Would you consider what's going on right now, a quarter of the way through the season? You guys are sitting at 1-4. Would you consider this to be the league has caught up with what you guys were doing a year ago, or is it more a case of the Super Bowl hangover, so to speak, biting y'all?
I've been asking him that question every week that I'm on, because I do think it's a little bit of the Super Bowl hangover.
I mean, if you just looked at the scores and the box scores, maybe you say that. But as somebody who watches every play and watches every game twice, I can't say that. I mean, just really think about it. We're really 3 or 4 plays away from being where we want to be. Denver.
And all of,
Yeah.
Graham gonna
Yeah.
field goal.
yeah.
Well, you know, Alan.
But
I'm sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, buddy, just because you're that close to those games, think about it. That doesn't mean that the Super Bowl hangover is not there. You know what I mean? It don't mean because just you didn't get blown out by 40 points that Super Bowl hangover is not there. To think about it, you guys had all that last year. Those balls were rolling in they were rolling your way. They were rolling your way. I mean, most of those plays, most of that crap would have worked your way, and you would have won the game last year. This year, it's bouncing the other way. And
I mean, but luck is luck though. It's not. I don't think whether you go to the Super Bowl or whether you don't. I think you can have good luck one year and bad luck the next.
No, but it's not about luck. What I'm saying is, I kept saying it's a little bit of Super Bowl hangover because the guys went in that game in Denver. Everybody on the planet, except for probably the people who in Denver and myself and a couple other people, thought that Carolina was going to win that game. And the thing about it was that they came in there very confident, cocky, and everything, and got their asses handed to them. And I'm telling you right now, in the back of their minds is a little bit of the confidence is kind of lost a little bit. That they're not that same confident team right now. That swagger is not there. I mean, they want to get back and they want to talk to themselves to get back. It just ain't coming up the same way.
Joe brought up a really interesting point last night when on the C3 podcast. He was talking about how when a Carolina game is over, almost immediately you see players tweeting about what they're going to be doing the rest of the evening, their plans, their social agenda, stuff like that. Whereas you didn't see that a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
The team played, and I can say this as someone on the outside looking in, more or less. Your team isn't playing the same group effort, the tightness that you guys played with a year ago. I haven't seen that yet.
Well, I think the confidence in themselves and the confidence in each other is not there at the same. And that's what he's trying to say. So, I mean, it is a part of the Super Bowl hangover because you lost the biggest game of your life just a few months ago. You had to wait all this time to play. And I'm telling you, as much as you don't want to say it's a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, because you think about history. History tells you very seldom does a team lose a Super Bowl and comes back and makes the Super Bowl the next year. That hasn't happened since like Super Bowl 5 or 6. I think the Dolphins did it and the Cowboys did it the year before. Yeah. Ever since then, that has not happened.
I mean, like I said, you can say that, but again, it's like, I feel like we always start slow. Even last year we were winning. I mean, the Jacksonville game, I wasn't impressed. The Texans game, I feel like last year, I don't feel like we really became that team until we beat Seattle.
Right, you didn't. It really didn't turn on till you beat Seattle. I agree with you on that because you had a couple games there. I even saw them, and I'm like, I don't know how they got out of those games and won.
Well, Greg,
them first maybe 4 or 5 games, I would say it's just Josh Norman games where he just made a play out of nowhere, whether it's Jacksonville where we struggling the whole game and then he picks out Blake Bortles and does a little waving thing and rides the horse. I mean, like I said, it was some of those, the Tampa game where Jonathan Stewart is running, he fumbles it, it just falls into Ed Dixon's arms and he keeps running for a touchdown.
Well, Greg brought up a very interesting and very appropriate point, I think, a little while ago. And people that haven't ever followed their team through a Super Bowl run don't quite understand it the way maybe that some of the others do. But for your team to go from the beginning of the season all the way through the season, then through the playoffs and into the Super Bowl, you begin to see things and you notice things. Balls bounce the right way. You win turnover battles against teams that you weren't even supposed to be in the game with. Field goals. You win games that you weren't supposed to win. And you guys were doing all of that last year. To a fault, you guys were doing that. The Seattle game, there's no way you guys should have beat Seattle. Even with the effort and seeing how the game played out, you guys should not have won that, but you did. But just like Greg just pointed out a minute ago, all those things that were going your way and were bouncing your way and were getting called your way a year ago, it's not like that this year. And you'd be surprised at what a huge difference such a little thing as that makes. But obviously, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here pointing out every flaw of the Carolina Panthers, because most everything that I'm saying about you guys in this little diatribe here, most everything that I'm saying about y'all is just as equally true about the New Orleans Saints.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the fan of me not wanting to admit it. But again, it's just the stuff I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe it's because I watch so much Panther football. But it's like I know what's going to... Like the Denver game. I'm in there with the guy. You know, we usually tweet during the game. I said, as soon as he lined up, as soon as he made the first one, they called timeout. I said, Gano's going to miss the second one. Because that's what Gano from 50 is never the power. I've never seen Gano kick it and it's just short. I've never seen that. But I have seen Gano's either going to kick it so low it gets blocked or he's going to hook it. And when he hook it, it's usually going left.
That's right.
Even the Tampa game. As soon as I see Kurt Coleman going on that blitz, which I don't understand what McDermott is doing. Why are we safety blitzing? With the free safety, mind you, because Kurt Coleman was playing free. As soon as I see Kurt Coleman go up on the line, I said Mike Evans about to score. Like I just don't like. Again, I only played up to high school level football. I've only coached at the Pop Warner level. I'm not saying I'm as smart as them guys in the NFL level, but it's just certain stuff like, what are you doing?
Really, I agree completely.
What are you doing? Like, Tampa Bay has not been driving on us the whole game. Why give them the opportunity to make that big play? Jameis has not been showing you he can drive down the field. Why blitz a safety? You let Mike Evans run a double move, and he scores. Like,
It's a riverboat run, right?
Some of the things that I've seen you guys do in the season, like some of the calls against Tampa on Monday night, that's preseason football, because it's almost like they were trying out stuff to see how it was going to work out and play out so they'll know where to file it in their system.
Yeah. Probably trying to confuse them.
I mean, but you can't do that at this point with this many. I mean, you can do that when you're having a 15-1 season.
Yeah.
Where you just trying stuff. Maybe. But at this point, it's no time to play around. Again, first and goal, like I said, Cameron Payne coming out the second half had what? First 2 touchdowns on our first 2 drives?
Yeah.
Why? Run a play action pass. it's not even like, okay, if Cam's in there, Cam has an option where, hey, if I don't like none of these wide receivers, I'm gonna run that in there. Derek Anderson ain't doing it, and the one time he did run, he fumbled, and that's just the type of stuff. I mean, I feel like the fans sometimes go overboard because every time we take a loss, it's fire Shula. The one good thing I feel about after this game is
Saints fans do the same thing.
The start Derek Anderson crowd is, they hiding right now. They in the bushes right now. But for some reason, that made the I don't understand why people just, even in our own fan base, some people that just don't like Cam. I've been hearing from a couple people to start Joe Webb.
You want me to tell you what it is, T-Money? You're not winning.
Well, even when he was winning, actually, believe it or not, last year, when the Panthers were on a hot streak with last year, I heard people. I heard people on one of the Saints radio stations, 1420. This dude was a Carolinas fan. He said they were happy that the team was winning. They just wish somebody else was at quarterback. They literally said that, and I was like, wow.
Cam's a very polarizing guy. I mean, I've never heard anybody middle of the road on him. Like the old saying goes, you either love him or you hate him.
I don't know. He was all right. I mean, I met him personally, so I mean, he was okay with me. And he's good around kids and stuff like that. And he's, he seemed like he was a decent guy for the most part. I mean, not perfect by any means, and not your, prototypical what they want to be, kind of whitewash, politically correct quarterback. Right. In that sense. But don't get me wrong, I love Russell. Don't get me wrong, Russell's a hell of a quarterback when it comes down to it. I mean, I'd go to war with Russell anytime. Russell can play.
Russell, we're going to find out about Russell in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, yes, we will.
We got that gauntlet coming up, man.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Carolina, Kansas City.
It's gonna be a lot of pass rushing going on, boy.
Oh man, if we can make it through this next quarter of our season, make it to halfway, with at least a split, we'll be doing very well.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be tough. We got to play at Arrowhead, and we've got to
that's a hard
host.
place to play.
We got to host the Broncos.
Well, we're hosting Seattle too, aren't we?
Yes. Right after the week following Kansas City, we have Seattle at home.
Yeah.
Then I had this all written down somewhere. Anyway, after Seattle, we go somewhere. San Francisco.
Yeah, San Fran.
And after San Francisco, we host Denver on a Sunday noon game, I think, and then follow that on a Thursday night game with going to Carolina again.
Yeah. So probably gonna be doing that's gonna probably be the color rush day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen those uniforms too, man.
I've seen them.
It looks like a troll puked a rainbow. Absolutely. I love the uniforms when they wear the black pants and black jerseys.
Yeah, I know we wearing the blue that we wore on Thanksgiving last year.
Okay. I remember that.
But yeah, so tough loss to Tampa Bay last week. Monday. So this week.
Yeah.
Now on a short week, we have to face Drew Brees and that potent offense, who had a bye week. So we know Sean Payton and Drew Brees has been in the lab cooking, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I hope so.
So Greg, since we heard a little bit less from you tonight so far, go ahead and give us your
Okay, let's see. So the three things you want, the three things the Saints need to do to win this?
Yeah.
I think the Saints need to do to win this. I think one, absolutely, it really pertains to our defense. I mean, and it is about containing Cam Newton. First thing, of course, is to me, it's going to be third down, getting off the field on third down. Just like same thing I said with San Diego last couple weeks ago. getting off the field on third down. Uh, They need to produce 1 or 2 turnovers out of this game. I think hopefully with that switch with Von Bell coming in and they're playing him a lot more, especially at free safety. I thought that was a really good move on their part. They bring him in. You still keep Jarius playing here and there, but I think you play Von. Von is a little more of a ball hawk. I think we can produce 1 or 2 turnovers out of it. They need to get at least 2 turnovers out of this game against Carolina. And I think number 3 is just shut Carolina from running the ball. If they can slow that run game down and force them to pass a lot more, I think we can beat Carolina if Carolina has to only pass. But if you allow Cam to get away with some of those read options and Stewart gets off and gets a couple of 150 yards or whatever, or bust some big runs, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to be on your heels all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sean, go ahead and give us your 3 keys.
Well, I agree with pretty much everything that Greg said. The only thing I might add is somewhere, somehow, they're going to have to develop some sort of pass rush. They're going to have to get Cam off his mark and get him to hurry some passes. And developing a pass rush with our secondary being in the condition that it's in, that can be their best friend, is to make sure that Cam has to hurry and get rid of that ball uncomfortably. But
the whole thing about they got to close those lanes off, because what happens with Cam, when I know what you're saying about getting him off his mark, you got to pin him into a corner. In other words, you're better off keeping him on his mark than you are having him move. I think you have to do is pan it off where he can't go anywhere, because that's usually what happens. Him and same thing with Matt Ryan did the same thing. They find a lane and then they shoot through it and run, and you got 20 yards on you. Before the next person gets them. So they have to pin him. They got to pin him in there. They got to pin him in. You can't allow him to move.
I think that we're a little better suited, or if you want to call it that, in a little bit better position defensively against Carolina than we were a few weeks ago against Atlanta, because we're coming off of that bye week, and we're gonna.
I think Ellaby is gonna play as well. I think Ellaby is actually gonna. I know he didn't practice, but if I understand, he should be back this week.
Well,
I think that adds some more versatility in that linebacking core.
I saw a report earlier this week that if Donnell Ellerby doesn't start on Sunday, it voids his contract.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read about that. I had to check that out.
I'll see if I can't find that tweet and see if I can't forward it to you then. But, Ellerby hasn't played since preseason.
Right.
And we should be, if everything goes as we hope for, we should be getting back players like Donnell Ellerby.
Rankins
Josh
won't
Hill,
be back to the 6. Yeah, Rankins won't be back to the 6.
Teron Armstead.
Yeah, that's another one who needs to play.
One of the most outstanding offensive linemen in the league that we absolutely need on the job.
Yeah, man. Bro probably won't be back for another 2 or 3 weeks either.
Yeah. Getting these some of these guys back that we've been missing so bad is gonna hopefully prove to be a shot in the arm for our offense and our defense.
Yes.
But anyway, most everything that Greg said, I completely agree with, and added to that the pass rush thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really about the defense. If we can kind of slow you down, keep you, I think, in that 16, 17, 20 points and under range. I think Saints, the offense can attack that secondary and cut them hard.
I believe that the most important thing to, at least on a surface level, looking at this game, with the loss of Josh Norman, with the loss of Roman Harper, with the loss of Peanut Tillman,
Ben Wickery, they had to,
and now Ben Wickery. You're talking about basically a young and depleted secondary, And the best thing that we got in the cabinet to hit you with is Drew
Yep.
Brees.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
They give them
I, I
some.
look I look for them to try their best to score early and score often.
Yeah, but not necessarily with the long ball. I would love to see them just taking some short passes
Sure.
and just working
Me
it down the field.
personally, me personally, I think they should take a play out of the San Diego management scheme, and every chance they get, run Mark Ingram.
Right up the middle. Because
Absolutely.
Tampa Bay just did it with Jacquez Rogers.
Yeah,
We it just ran him right up the middle, right up the gut. If I'm New Orleans, I test it. Let's see if we
sure,
can do that 2 weeks in a row.
sure.
All right. So what are your three, T Money?
My three, first of all, is rhythm. Rhythm offensively. We need to get in the rhythm. Where we get in the yards like we usually do, we're not getting the time of possession like we normally do. Is my thing. We're not sustaining drive, in my opinion. So hopefully, Cam was at practice today. Jonathan Stewart was at practice today. So that's two weapons right there that hopefully will be able to play Sunday. So Jonathan Stewart, when you have him on the field, makes a difference. You have to respect him in a different way than you're going to respect Cameron Artis-Payne and Fozzie Whitaker as good as, even though Cap had a good game last week. Second of all, my second is coaching decisions. In the secondary is the biggest thing. Defensively, coaching decisions and knowing what to do and when to do it is something I feel like we've been struggling on. Like I spoke about earlier, safety blitzing in a situation where Jameis Winston isn't driving. You can't make those mistakes against Drew Brees because he's going to figure it out every time. Every time. Every time. And then my other goal, stand on the penalties, man. I think we're the second most penalized team behind Oakland.
Wow.
It's just unacceptable what I've been seeing, man. It's just some of the mistakes. You take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Mike Rimmers, sometimes I feel like he's secretly on every other team in the NFL besides ours. Because anytime we have a drive, anytime we get to 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, Mike Rimmers is going to jump. He just is. It's unexplainable. If you watch the Atlanta game, he literally jumped off sides 3 times in a row.
Wow.
3 times. Like that makes no sense to me. But other than that, they did get back to what I wanted them to do, power running. And you see the difference that Cameron Artis-Payne looked last week compared to the other games that Jonathan Stewart has missed. Because I feel like, first of all, the best part of our offensive line is the middle. The center, Ryan Khalil, Trey Turner, Andrew Norwell is the best part of our line. Now, I don't want them to go back to, and this is what I was saying at times, they do stuff just to get cute. Sometimes you just got to smash mouth old school football. So with Jonathan Stewart, I feel like when we're our most diverse is when Jonathan Stewart is there. You'll see them run the read option stuff, but you'll also see them run the power stuff. They'll run stuff out of different formations, different looks. So that to me is bigger than is a bigger reason to have Jonathan Stewart besides what he just does on the field. Power running. I feel like, especially with your linebackers, I feel like we'll be able to help us. Defensively, I need more playing time out of my defensive line. If you watch a lot of games, I think even John Gruden said it. It was too many times I looked on our defensive line and I don't see Kawan Short. I don't see Charles Johnson. I don't see Coney Ely. If you're going to rotate them like that, you can't rotate all 3. Like that, I don't understand why we're doing that. I seen a lot of LeVar Edwards. I seen a lot of Mario Addison. I seen a lot of Paul Soliai, which if Soliai is in there and Jacquez is run up the middle, I mean, you can take him out because that defeats the whole purpose of having Paul Soliai.
Pretty much.
Which Quiz did have a good game. I think, but besides that first quarter, I feel like we really did a decent job. I mean, he had 30 carries for 100 yards. If you give me 30 carries, I think I can get you 100.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
most
know,
backs you should be able to. Yeah, pretty much most backs you should be able to get. Should be getting really closer to 125 or 150 almost.
Yeah.
yeah, I think he had maybe 102, 105 ish.
Yeah,
Well,
But
it's obviously a far different team with Jonathan Stewart in there,
it is.
and I
yeah,
mean even above and beyond Cameron Artis-Payne. And I think Payne is good enough to be starting in some backfields in this league, but at the same time, he's for you guys and your offense and your best interests. Uh, this is a far better team with Jonathan Stewart in the lineup.
I just think it's the trust factor because
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, I feel like Cameron Payne can do anything Jonathan Stewart can do. It's just that they don't trust him to. It's like and I'm surprised they went back to him. They usually do at the beginning of each half. If Cameron Payne doesn't have a good run in those couple of runs, they're done with him. And I just don't understand that because you'll let Jonathan Stewart run for his 2 yards, maybe 10 times, or 3 yards another time because they trust him to know that at some point he's gonna wear down the defense.
yeah.
And they just don't have that with Cameron Payne. And
You're preaching to the
I
choir,
don't know why.
brother, because we sit every Sunday and we watch third and short, and you run a play action pass when you got John Kuhn in your backfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it on second down where you kind of maybe run a play action or, you know what I mean.
You take your shot at that
Yeah,
point.
you take that shot. I mean, because you still got 31 there waiting on you. But I mean, you should be able to trust your run game to be able to get you a yard in the league.
Yeah.
You should be able.
Especially John Kuhn.
Yeah, right. I mean, and you're talking about in the middle of the line with Unger, Evans, and Pete in the middle. Well, Pete's right now playing tackle since Armstead's out. But I mean, and Clemente or either the other one there, Lolito. I mean, you still should be able to get a yard.
Yeah.
It's a yard,
But
So
you spend
And
three
it's all
plays
about
trying to
it's
get
about
1
knowing
yard.
yeah,
it's about knowing where to run to.
right.
Because it was one play where we did try to run it on 3rd and 1. And they had 10 in the box. I mean, okay, so you might not be able to run it at that point. So then
Yeah,
the next
pretty
time
much.
that situation, I think that's when they ran the play action with Derek Anderson, let Greg Olsen kind of sneak out, and he had a big catch. So it's all about knowing which parts of your line is which parts. Shout out to my boy Tony. Tony is normally the first one ready to go on Mike Tolbert. I don't know what he was doing on that 3rd and 1. Like he missed. He was trying to hit the linebacker or somebody, but he totally whiffed on the block. And that's why I normally get on Tony and Joe because they pick one linebacker each offseason that they love for the year to take Mike Tolbert's spot. But on that one, I had to agree with Tony. Mike Tolbert missed that block bad, and as soon as he missed, that guy came and wrapped up Cameron Artis-Payne. But Armstead, how close is he to coming back? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was on that whole.
He didn't practice today.
But I think he is getting close to being back. I think they're just resting him.
They're expecting him to be back for Sunday.
Okay,
right.
Because I was.
I think he's.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first seen him, I was like, okay, he's just an offensive lineman that just runs fast. That don't mean you can block. But I feel like over the years, he has proven himself to be one of the best young tackles in the NFL. So he would definitely be a concern.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when he's healthy, the numbers prove out. I mean, that he's definitely one of the top 2 or 3 tackles in the league easily.
Absolutely.
He was last season. And
he graded out his number. He graded out as the number 3 left tackle last year.
Yeah, last year. Yes, he did. He graded out. So I mean, and I think I think he still can be as long as he's healthy. Once he gets healthy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his rookie year was what, 2013?
Two seasons ago.
Yeah, a couple seasons ago. Yeah, this is like his 3rd year, isn't it? Or 4th year, isn't it?
Third.
I think it's his fourth season, I think.
Uh,
I think it
I
was
wanted
13.
to say I thought 2013 was his rookie year.
I think it is 2013. I
yeah,
think you're right. I
that
think it was
sounds
20.
about right.
Yeah, it's like 2013 because that was the year
Uh,
when Greg Hardy was still in your team, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That year I felt like couldn't nobody block us. I don't care who you had on the offensive line.
Yeah,
You could have had
actually,
that was
actually,
his first
Teron
game.
Armstead's first start was
Yeah,
against
it's
Carolina.
Carolina, right? Yeah, and
Replaced Charles White.
yeah, yeah, he was getting he was getting beat in that first half. In the second half, he kind of settled down and played pretty decent after that. But he
Yeah,
he got beat a few times at first, but he kind of got the hang of swing of things, and then he was fine
has
after that. After that, he
never
pretty
looked
much,
back,
yep, that was his position.
and
That was his position.
yeah.
that's the foundation for our future.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Nah.
don't know how close. They haven't talked about, or well, of course, with Cam practicing today, that's going to dominate the news.
Sure.
But I
Well, they
would
say
like
he
to
practiced
get,
like
Michael Orr back. And I don't know how close Bradbury is yet either. Bradbury is pretty much held his own, so it would make me right now. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Who's going to guard Brandon Cooks? Um,
Well, you got Michael Thomas, you got Willie Snead to worry about. You know,
I mean, them. I think with Snead, what helps is our linebackers range a little bit with a lot of his routes. But as far as Brandon Cooks just running full speed, I don't know if we gonna have anybody. Kurt Coleman can be there and still get outran. So, um,
I ain't never heard that
so,
before. Well, we'll put him. Y'all put him on
so he,
Brandon Coleman. We'll that'll average out.
uh,
Brandon
so
Coleman
I'm
can
just
fall out of
interested
a boat
seeing
and not
him.
hit water, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just interested in seeing, how exactly we'll match up with that wide receiving core.
yeah. Because I
Uh,
I'm going to
mean,
tell you, we have, and it's because I don't know if it's just because of the losing record or just what. Maybe the fact that they're to an extent they've underperformed to this point in the season, but we have what I believe is one of the most outstanding young wide receiver cores in the league right now.
yeah, I think I
With
think I think they're gonna prove out like in another like next season, end of the season,
yeah,
you're gonna see some
I,
bigger things from
yeah.
those guys, especially Thomas. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing
We
him
just, I
really.
mean, my whole thing that I always say about Saints wide receiving cores is you never really know how good they are just because number nine's so good, man.
well, it's hard for you to get a real feel for how good a receiver is when your quarterback is making use of so many different targets.
Right.
Your guys
Yeah.
like Megatron, they're going to get their 10, 15 catches a game. Well, you're not good. Very, very, very rarely has Drew Brees ever thrown 15 balls to the same guy in a game.
No, I mean that dude
Now,
have to be like really.
eh,
He have to be like really beating the heck out of somebody. I mean, he's got to be
yeah.
like
Uh,
smoking some dude
the
to get
only
that.
the only 10 to 15 that you're going to get on a Drew Brees stat line is maybe 10 to 15 different receivers.
Right. Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's really
yeah,
hard to get a feel for how really good our receiving core can be.
yeah, and and hopefully Fleener's still coming along a little bit more better. I thought he looked better in Atlanta.
Everything
So.
that I've heard on Fleener is that he is still struggling to grasp the offense.
Hmm.
As short a time ago as the Giants game, he was
Yeah.
still running the wrong pass routes.
Yeah. Well, that never works out very
Well,
well.
you gotta remember he got baby with luck. Remember they
Yeah, well,
both played at Stanford, and then when they came to the
they were
NFL, they
roommates
had
at
their offensive
Stanford.
Yeah.
coordinator.
Well, yeah, right. And then they had Stanford's offense coordinator on the team too, so it was
Yeah,
easier or he knew the offense. He'd
yeah.
been in offense 6, 7, 8 years or whatever you can say during that
Yeah,
time.
they had that what I call that old Ryan Tannehill treatment.
Sort of. It's sort of.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
I think once he learns it, and then it may not be till middle of the season, late on, to where he really, really gets a grasp of it. I think he'll be an asset. But right now, It's touch and go.
That opinion on my move is for what you paid Kobe Fleener, you could have gave that money to Jimmy.
No.
Well, we did get the money, but we gave the money to Jimmy. Remember that Jimmy signed his contract. He had his contract, and they still ended up. They just like the hell with it because of his attitude.
Well,
he wanted that raw receiver money though.
Well, I've gotten into this already once today, and I'm gonna say this one more time, and this is gonna probably not sit well with my co-host. Jimmy Graham was a cancer in the locker room.
Yeah, he became one after he did. That's the reason. That's the only reason why they got rid of him. Other than
absolutely. Sean Payton was dangerously close at a certain point, maybe a season or two ago. Yeah. Sean Payton was dangerously close to losing this locker room, and a lot of people don't know that because he handled everything in house. But players like Ben Grubbs, Kenny Stills, Jimmy Graham.
Yep, and that's why those guys got traded. A lot of guys got cut. A couple of guys that were fighting in the locker room, and they got rid of him. Gillette was another one they had to get rid of. Then that's when, like I said, that's the reason why you got $40 million in money, $40 million in dead money, because he had to get rid of some of the cancers out of the locker room. Some of the guys who weren't.
Now, a lot of people are ready to throw their hands up and try to lynch Peyton and Loomis over the $40 million in dead money.
I don't care about all that. I really don't.
I don't either. I couldn't care less. Just one example, Brandon Browner.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I would have given you $40 million a year ago to get him out of our organization.
Agreed.
And it's just simply stuff like that. Guys either buy into it or they're out there on their own island. Yeah. Doing their own thing, and those that are on.
I think honestly, what affected Browner the most, I mean, besides he was losing his speed, I think
that he's old, that he's slow, that he's lost it.
I think it was more so too. I feel like he really wanted to play with Keenan Lewis, and once Keenan Lewis got hurt, I feel like his mentality wasn't really the same.
No, but he was screwing up anyway from the beginning of the season, even when Keenan was there.
I'll say this about Brown.
I mean, but Keenan never played last year, did he?
Yeah,
I thought he missed the whole year.
No, not the whole year.
No, he played some. Now I will say this about I will say this about Brandon Browner, and I've maintained this position on him from the very beginning. Brandon Browner, for the most part, has never really changed from the time he was in Seattle to the time that he went to New England to the time that he came to New Orleans. He has been basically the same type player, plays the same way. The penalties, the selfish, what I consider to be selfish play on the field, that's all been the same. The only difference being that in New England and Seattle, well, they had enough talent around him to cover him when his play wrote checks that his behind couldn't cash.
Right.
And New Orleans, they expected him to be a completely different entity. They wanted him to be a leadership model in the locker room, and that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But isn't that on y'all? I mean, like, you can say what you want about Jimmy Gillette, but didn't Sean Payton make him the captain?
Yeah, agreed. But you got to look at this. And one thing I would give the Saints credit, and I think I give Sean Payton credit for, with that $40 million in dead money, at least if anything, they got rid of the mistakes. When they realized they made a mistake, they got rid of it. They didn't because they could have just as well kept all those guys on the team right now that they would have been paying, kept all those guys, and this team would have been probably a 1-15 team every year, every time you look around. They got rid of those guys. And got some guys in.
It's a really dangerous catch-22.
I mean, that's when you come into that TO debate to me.
You either keep
those guys good enough to put up with their stuff.
Well,
Kenny Stills and Jimmy Graham's impact on your offense was good enough to put up with whatever they putting up with.
I don't know.
Neither one of them were really contributing that much. If you really want to think about it and look into it,
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham's numbers the last 2 years that he played in New Orleans were steadily trending down.
Well, you
Catching
think,
less passes, playing
yeah,
less games,
yeah.
dropping more balls,
Well,
fumbling.
you think about the last 5 games of his last season before he was traded. You think about it. He basically really pretty much just kind of gave up. He kind of folded the tent
Sure.
because I can remember
Yeah.
because I can remember a couple occasions where he was kind of short arming balls. He
Yeah.
wasn't very tough. If he get he basically was
Well,
pretty
Jimmy Graham
soft.
was never tough.
No,
Never.
no,
That was
no.
never the word you was going to use for Jimmy
Now,
Graham.
now
Right.
let me
I
say
mean, but
this in
my whole thing
all
is you would have
fairness.
expected that. He's a basketball player that just played football.
In
Yeah,
all
but
fairness, now I would like to say this. I take absolutely nothing away from the contribution that Jimmy Graham made to this
agreed.
organization on
Agreed.
the field. All the touchdowns that he scored, yay! Okay, fine. Uh, when you're not catching balls, and when you're fumbling passes that you do catch, and when you're not getting into the end zone, and when you're standing on the sidelines hurt, you're not doing my team or this organization any good.
Yeah. And for him, he was even though he signed his contract and got paid, he was just still mad about the contract because he wanted more. He
Sure,
thought he should have gotten more money, and it was better to ship him off. You think about it, and in the end, they come out better in a sense because
absolutely.
you got you got an extra draft pick in there. You picked up another player. You picked up a center, a Pro Bowl center out of it, so you didn't lose that bad. And you think about it, Seattle's struggling to get the guy on the field half the time. At this point, he's playing a little bit now. But I mean, over the last couple of years, he hasn't really had any real chemistry with
He
Russell Wilson.
he's been there what 2 years now, or
Yeah, 2 years now.
year and a half,
2 years.
2 years,
Just,
and he's
Yes,
played how many games? You can count on one hand.
just about.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say that he killed us.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing. Well, as far as killing your opponent, say the same thing about Greg Olson to us, man.
Yeah.
You can time
Yeah.
Greg Olson in a 40-yard dash with a calendar.
Yeah,
How
but
do
here,
you let this man loose for 100 yards receiving in a game? But he
but here,
does it every
when I
week.
when I got a feeling now with Robertson there and with Ellaby there,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't think he's gonna have that same effect. I really
All
don't.
right, we are in much better shape. Now, I say this, and he'll probably go for 300 yards, just like
No,
Julio Jones.
no, he will not.
Uh, our linebacker core is in a lot better shape coverage wise
Yeah,
to
I mean the
to
linebacking
compete
core
with a
is
guy
much better.
like Olsen this year
Yeah,
than they
I'm
were a year ago.
much happier with this linebacking core than I have in the last 3 or 4 years.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I feel
That's
like
fine. I mean,
nah,
yeah,
nah. It don't have nothing to do about the defense. I just feel like nobody can stop Greg Olsen besides our quarterbacks. Honestly, when they don't throw to him.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Elson gonna get his,
Oh
but what I'm
yeah,
saying is that, but and he's gonna catch passes. I don't care who you are. But what I'm
that's
saying
right.
is, I think I'm willing to 50-50 balls. Some of those other balls that are a little closer, we got guys who can cover a little bit better now. Before we
Yeah.
couldn't have guys who we got guys who couldn't cover crap last year. I
Last year
mean,
when we played Carolina, the first game in Carolina,
what?
the
I mean,
the the
David
the,
Hawthorne can cover.
the Luke McCown game, man,
Oh God,
Greg Olsen catch a 5-yard dump off, and you look up when you think the next play is about to start, and he's still running down the field.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was terrible.
like Greg was talking about, we have much better coverage linebackers now in Robertson, and if he's available, just go around Ellerby as well.
Well, Stupor is not too bad, and I
Yeah,
mean, and I
Stupar
think
is
Anthony.
Stupar has been actually has been getting better and better since about the second preseason game.
Yeah, yeah, and I think and I do think that Anthony can cover a little bit. Sometimes not as well as you thought he could, but I think
Yeah,
he can get better at it. He's got the potential.
I like the fact
Yeah.
that Dennis Allen is taking the time, and the team is in a position to where they can take Anthony, who looked so promising a year ago, and back him up a little bit and rewind and teach him
Work him in.
correctly. Teach him
Yeah.
better how to be a linebacker in this league rather than be a linebacker in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Right.
And that I hope that in the end that turns him into the next Jonathan Vilma for the Saints.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely need. I mean, Dad, I would love to have back another Vilma.
Well, those are Vilmas are kind of like breezes. There's those once in a lifetime guys,
They really are.
or well, once in a generation guys. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving
So,
on.
yeah.
I guess we'll go ahead and move to.
We just gave you all the
Questions.
keys to beat us, man.
I mean, I thought I did that already.
No, we just sit there and told you how to beat us and everything.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and move on to the question part is still gonna be Panthers Saints. So, Sean, I guess I'll let you go ahead first.
Okay.
I guess the question part you can technically ask about one of the other two if you want.
Well,
First.
my question is to you, T Money. What do you see as the most important element of the game plan going into Sunday to try to walk out of here with a victory?
Rhythm. I mean, offensively and defensively. Like I said, rhythm. Offensively, moving the ball consistently. I think that if you want to say that's the Super Bowl hangover part of it, I think our offense just got used to just having big plays when they wanted to have big plays and not really having to play Panther football, sustaining a drive, using time of possession. We got used to so much of the time where if we just wanted to take that shot, we could take that shot, and it was going to work.
You want me to tell you the definition of a Super Bowl hangover, by the way? When you reach the point that you think winning and losing is flipping a switch, turning it on and off.
I feel like every good team is like that, though.
Well,
I feel like every good team has those gears, no matter what sport it is, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. Like, I feel like the Patriots have a switch. They might go down a couple gears for a couple weeks. And then
but Bill Belichick's the devil.
I mean, I'm just saying, like how many times have we had those games over the years? Like the big one that I really remember is was it last year, or the year before? I think they played the Chiefs or somebody, and they got manhandled the whole game. And everybody was, is this the end of the Patriots? I mean, because Brady was getting blown up every play.
2 years ago.
It was just a real bad loss, and everybody was wondering, is this the end of New England? And they do as New England do. So I feel like Seattle has that switch. Seattle is another team that usually starts slow. Or even when I say start slow, I'm not necessarily even talking about wins or losses. I'm just talking about how dominating they look. And then the closer we get to postseason time, they turn it up a little bit more. They turn it up. They turn it up. They turn it up. I just feel like a lot of if you're a really good team, no matter what sport, you have those different gears. Or even when it comes to basketball, I feel like Cleveland is like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Cleveland knows nobody's going to beat them in the East. So
one thing that's a common thread through everything that you just said, every team that you just mentioned is a team that year in, year out is always competitive for the top spot. And when you're that good, and by that good, I don't mean, people don't understand that in the NFL, it's easy to have a successful season. That's not the hard thing. The hard thing is to have a successful tenure, success on an extended period of time. The way that Seattle, obviously New England, your Denver, these teams that have sustained success, they're doing this. You see their down periods measured in weeks, not in seasons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that
I thought we were moving into that realm, and then we started at 1-4. So,
well, to an
I don't know.
extent, you guys are, I would say,
Yeah,
because I mean you've won the NFC South 3 years in a
three
row
years in
now,
a row. Yeah, exactly.
and that's the beginning of it. Don't get me wrong. But pardon me, I'm not quite ready to crown you guys just yet for number 4. Uh,
I'm
but
not
if you,
crowning Atlanta either.
oh no,
I'm
I
not
won't
crowning
crown them.
Atlanta either.
I won't crown them if they win it. Uh, but that's just the saint in me.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Um, but I mean, if you think about it, and I said this 2 weeks ago, and I'll repeat the same thing now. You look around you. We're what, a quarter of the way into the season now. Some of these teams that are on top right now, they're going to peter out. They're going to top. They're going to level off and just kind of
Yeah,
slowly slide in.
yeah,
And there's going to be other teams that just kind of they make their way back, they maintain, and then the closer you get to the finish line, they're going to start hitting on all cylinders, and
yep.
they're going to peak at the perfect time. So
Right.
I said all of that to say this: I do feel like that both of our teams are a lot better, and our talent level on both of these teams is a lot more representative than a 1-4 or 1-3 team. And
Yeah.
that being said, I think that starting Sunday, the season either starts to really become a season now for somebody, and then for somebody, as Joey and Tony put it last night, Sunday somebody's off season begins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I guess this is a question, I guess, in a way, to both of you. Do you feel like up against our seasons against the wall?
I didn't hear you, Greg.
Like, do you feel like the Panthers season had their backs against the wall for this season?
I do, because you go 1-6. I mean, unless you winning out, you're really not gonna make the playoffs.
Okay. Well, yeah. No,
I
I
feel
mean,
like right now we're still. I feel like right now we're still in the hunt, just because, like I said, every year pretty much we are that team that picks it up towards the end of the year. I think Ron Rivera, I think is, since him and Cam has been together, I think they might have the best record. I think it's either them or Brady and Belichick, but it's 1-2 that way. So, and even if anybody remembers the early Ron Rivera years, when some people were calling for him to get fired, he would always save his season by winning the last 4 out of 5 games. You know what I'm saying? They would get hot late at the end of the year. And with Atlanta,
I think
you're never really gonna know if they cool off.
I
But
think
1-6, you gotta win out.
I think it's also worth mentioning that not like a season ago, but like 2 seasons ago, somebody from the NFC South is going to benefit from, for lack of a better way of putting it, going to benefit from just how bad our division is. Carolina that year won the division championship with what, a 7-8-1 record,
something like that.
We went for like almost without winning.
Somebody's got to win it.
I think this year you're gonna have to have 10 to 11 wins to win the division. I don't think we're having an NFC East year where you can win it 8-8, 9-7.
Okay.
I don't know. Because you're playing 2 really tough divisions in the NFC West and the AFC West.
That's true.
I could totally see this being like 9-7, 8-8 winning division in ways, because both teams have enough. They have enough weapons, but they'll both have, all four teams have enough flaws that this could be kind of an up and down roller coaster season.
But I mean, how much room are you really gonna have to play with as far as Atlanta? I mean, they already played Denver.
Yeah,
They got Seattle this week.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean,
but
really,
they still got to
play
go
the
through.
Raiders.
But they got to
So
go back
really,
to us, huh?
I mean, besides as far as them two other divisions, I mean, the only really hard team they got left is what, Arizona and Kansas City.
Yeah, you got Arizona, Kansas City. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
They already
Who
played
knows?
Oakland. They already played Oakland. They already played Denver. They're playing Seattle this week.
Yeah.
I mean, do we really think the Rams are gonna still be?
I don't know, man.
Whatever.
The Rams seem like a solid bet this year.
Well, let's say it like this: the Rams I think always been a very good defensive team. I mean, that they got a really good, fast, young. To me, I think one of the better defenses out there. I mean, well, at least the more talented defenses. They don't
Shout
play
out
as
to RG3.
but I think they got one of the more talented. Yeah, pretty much. But they got one of the more talented defenses. So I mean, depending on how they if they show up, I mean, they could wreak some havoc.
But come on, I don't even know how they win it right now, because it's not like Todd Gurley has been balling like we thought he was going to.
No. They playing. I mean, but they playing Jeff Fisher ball. You know what I mean?
They scoring one more point than the other team, buddy.
The Rams
That's all it is. It's subpar ball.
I feel like Jeff Fisher saves his teams just because the Rams is always going to play Arizona and Seattle tough.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing with Carolina and the Saints and the Falcons and the Bucks. I mean, you can throw the records out the window. Look at we had a 7-9 season a year ago, and we were 8 points from beating the Carolina Panthers, who went 15-1 twice.
Yes.
I used to not feel about Tampa, but I can't say that anymore. Sorry.
Division games are always going to be close and always going to be hard fought.
Yes.
And the only thing harder than beating
that team where I would have said that's not, because
the only thing harder than beating
a lot better when we. Oh, go ahead.
The only thing harder than beating a team in a season is to beat a team twice in the same season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stop reminiscing about where we could just count on Tampa Bay for 2 wins a year.
Glory days. Hey, people used to say that about Carolina too.
Yep.
Back in the let me see.
Clausen?
No, not Clausen.
Vinny Testaverde, Rodney Pete. Jared Lorenzen.
Go further back. The kid from Penn State. Collins.
Kerry Collins.
Kerry Collins.
Oh, no. We won the NFC Championship our second year.
Oh, dude, come on.
But no, there were.
I mean, once
that was a conspiracy.
Whoa.
Well, you see, Jacksonville did it the same year too, man. Both expansion teams going to the division championship game in the year after their inception. Come on.
But did Jacksonville ever do it again?
Jury's still out on that. No, I'm just kidding with you, man. I remember that team, and I pulled hard for them to take it from Green Bay that year.
Yeah. But.
Oh, well. Greg, I think I turned him against us that time.
I guess I'm the only one left as far as the question. I guess what would be your key matchup, whether it's player versus player, player versus coach, coach versus coach for the game this weekend?
Go ahead, Greg.
Our defensive line against Carolina's offensive line, getting that pass rush and pinning Cam, making sure that he doesn't get out of that pocket, and you closing and you getting a couple of sacks. Like I said, I mean, I think they can get a couple turnovers. I would love to see a couple sacks because, I mean, I think if we can do that, I think we can keep you. Like I said, I think if we keep you under 20, we got you.
Mine would most definitely be our offensive line against your defensive line.
Agreed.
That's gonna be what determines the success or failure of this ball game.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
because if the Saints allow the Carolina Panthers defensive line to dictate the tempo and the level of success that they're able to have on Sunday, then it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, if you give Breeze the time, I think he'll find the receiver, especially against that secondary. I think he can expose that secondary like brutally. I really
Yeah.
think so, and he knows.
But it's all going to start up front.
It's gonna start that front. That's right. Those five got to keep those
I
guys
feel like
out
he
of there.
could have a. What was that game where y'all got totally disrespectful and just tried to run up the score?
Say it again.
Wasn't it?
I don't know
trying to think.
I don't really recall a disrespectful thing, but now as far as us scoring a lot of points, I think you're probably talking about the Indianapolis Colts.
No, I'm talking about versus us. It was
Oh, that was.
I think it was the last game of the last game of the season. Y'all had like 600 yards or something crazy.
That was the day. That was actually the very first Saints game that I ever attended in person. That was the day that all the league records and team records
y'all
and
was
everything
breaking like
was set.
every record. Yeah.
Yeah.
2000,
We still had
2011. 2011 season.
Yeah. It was on New Year's Day, 2012.
Yeah.
My wife took me to that game. That was my very first Saints game to ever go to. That was Cam Newton's rookie year.
Yeah, as long as we don't have that type of situation, because that game, man, I felt like I wanted to turn off the TV, which I've never been that person.
No, neither have I. Yeah, neither have I. I watch anyway.
Hey, if I watched the end of the Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles game last year, I can watch anything.
Yeah, pretty much. You ain't joking.
Because I considered those two games to be two of the very worst losses in the Sean Payton era.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can think way back of many more.
Well, probably the worst.
Y'all ain't gonna tell me ain't nothing as bad as watching Jimmy Clausen for a year. Man, you don't know if Jimmy Clausen gonna get the snap.
Oh, wait a minute, baby. Wait a minute.
You don't know if he's gonna try to hand it off and trip over his lineman. Hey, man, Jimmy Clausen turned the wrong way.
Have you ever heard of Billy Kilmer? Let's see.
That's
Billy Kilmer. Oh man, I can write you a book.
Bobby Scott.
Dave Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh God.
John
Forcade.
John Forcade, yes. Oh man, I can think of some more here. I mean, Brooks was decent.
I'm sure if they struggle, it wasn't like why are they in the NFL struggle? That was Jimmy Clausen.
A couple of times. It was a couple of guys there. Yeah.
Dude, people started wearing paper bags to the games.
Yeah, I remember that year.
I mean, between Clausen and Chris Winkie, I don't even know.
Okay, now he makes a good point about Chris Winkie. Maybe we need to go a different direction with this.
You win the first game and lose 15 straight. Oh, my God.
Hey, we went Greg, haven't we gone 0-for before?
No, we never did an 0-for. We done 1-15 seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Detroit is the only team that ever done an 0-for. We've come close, but yeah, they pulled away.
We've lost 15 or 16 in a row. It's just spread out over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Imagine watching 15 straight losses.
Oh, I have.
And type of fan I am, man. You still going to the game? Oh, we're gonna win.
I didn't quite do all that year. I mean, I can remember that year, 1980 when I thought we were gonna make the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. Oh man, that was disappointing.
I can't do that with the Panthers. Like basketball with the Hornets. If the Hornets working my nerves, I can turn them off. I can get frustrated with them and not watch them for about 10 games.
Yeah.
Just because, I guess it's because the NBA its season is so long.
Yeah.
It is. It is a long season. I mean, because I'm a Lakers fan. Like, I may not watch a lot of the games. I'll keep up what's going on, and I'll peek in on a few games here and there. But I don't like intently have to watch all 82 games because most of the time I figure they're taking a half the year off anyway. Most of the players, you know what I mean, until the playoff time, and until.
I'm only football, man. I played ball when I was up. I played up until the point that I graduated, and I had the opportunity to walk on at university here in Monroe,
Mhm.
and I didn't take it because my senior year I completely blew out my knee, tore my ACL and my MCL at the same
Uh,
time.
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that was the end of my playing career. So that's for the benefit of the Who Dat Nation. I went into my journalistic side of my career then.
But it's already 11:23.
Yep.
We got to go ahead and close out the show.
Yes.
Sean, go ahead and let everybody know where they can reach you, man.
You can follow me on Twitter at DrewsDad3721 or the Under the Dome podcast Twitter feed, which is at Under the Dome PO1. You can follow us on Facebook on Under the Dome podcast Facebook page. That's pretty much it, man. Thank you guys so much for having me. I've enjoyed this more than I can tell you.
All right, man. We're welcome to have you, Greg.
Of course, same here. Glad to be back again. You can contact me at IntenseGB on Twitter. Like I said, always feel free to hit me up and follow me, and I'll follow back.
All right. As far as me, it's your boy, Mr. T Money 1993. YouTube, Mr. T Money 1993. Twitter, T Muhammad 23. Also, if you support your boy, man, go check out my gaming channel, T Money Gaming. Put up a new video today. Starting a little. This one is NBA 2K17. So if you like that game, go ahead and check that out, man. Shout out. Go ahead and watch Tony and Joe, Cat Chronicles, man. Thank you, as always, to them for the opportunity, man. Just started out as being a guest on the show a little bit last year, to now hosting the show, moderating the show. So shout out to them for the opportunity. And it's a wrap. South Mountain Down, we out.
Good night.
All right.